بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the IU's Department Orientation session for Fall 2023 semester. On this note, I would like to welcome respected Dr. Morena, Head of Department for Education. Dr. Morena, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. So should I go ahead?
Yes, Dr. Morena, you can begin, please.
Naam, inna alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu subhanahu wa ta'ala wa nashkuruhu wa nasta'dihi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina ma yahdihillahu fahuwa al-muhtadi wa ma yudlil fala tajida lahu waliyyan murshida. All praises and adoration are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. We thank Allah for giving us the opportunity to be in existence today. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to shower his blessings upon the noble soul of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, his companion, and the generality of Muslim Ummah until the day of resurrection. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and my dear respective student of International Open University, and all our dear brothers and sisters all over the world. I want to welcome you to International Open University. We are specifically to the Department of Education, where we teach individuals on how to improve on the capacity building across the globe. And that is why today, as is being said by our Student Affairs Department, the title of today's lecture is going to be Education for Capacity Building, Integrated Approaches. Of course, this program is to educate our prospective students and the public domain for them to get acquainted with necessary information as regards to what we do in the Department of Education. And that is why when we talk about capacity building, you agree with me that it is one of the essential elements in our various countries. Because for a country to grow and develop, there is need for that country to build on his or on its capacity. And that is why I said education is very essential for everyone. And that is why the United Nations also claimed the fact that education must be made for everybody, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of where you are, and irrespective of what you are doing. You should be able to have access to basic educational development at your various countries. And that is why you now begin to wonder, what do I mean by education? Then as we can see on the slide, education is not just going to the school. It doesn't have to do with reading and writing alone, and it doesn't involve the formal education alone, but it has to do with the transmission of knowledge, skill, and character, as well as the norms and value of the society from one generation to another generation. And that is why summarily, from what I have on the slide, education is not just formal education alone, but we also have the non-formal system of education. And that is why when we talk about formal education, then that is when we are talking about the school system, the formalized curriculum. But when we talk about non-formal education, it requires the type of education that we acquire from the family structures, from the father, from the mother, and all other extended family system. So when we look at this, because of our time, we have various systems of education. Some of this education enlightened us on how to read, how to write, how to communicate, the norms, the value of society. How are we going to get ourselves acquainted with them? Because the scenario is that if an individual do not have the knowledge of norms and value of the society, he or she is going to be tagged as deviant in the society. So if an individual is tagged as deviant, it means he or she is unable to comply with the norms and value of other people in the society. And that is why we have all sorts of behavior like criminality, hooliganism, indecent dressing, and so on and so forth. So the essence of education, which is our main work in this department, is to ensure that individuals get themselves acquainted with all these skills and strategy for them to be able to be useful to the larger society, just like what I've said. Then as we can see on the slide, it is a very great concern and is a serious task for us to be able to pass the instructional content from one person to the other. In other words, for instance, I know how to build an house. And of course, I now want to teach another person this particular skills. It is not a bread and butter task for you to be able to pass this skill to another person, but it requires a special training. And that's why we said our classification focus on teaching methods, specifically a teacher and student-centered approaches. So the style that you want to use in communicating this skill to another generation is what we are building in the Department of Education. That is where I'm going to. Then I now say, what is a capacity building? A capacity building can best be described as the process of inducing changes in an individual or group of individuals in a particular community or country. So because in the countries or in any community, there is need for us to build capacity because we need different professionals in our countries. The way Allah has created us, if you go to the Quran now, is that when Allah created our dear father, Prophet Adam, he said he should move down to this world. فَإِنِّي يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. Allah says, I will now be sending you different guidelines, different procedures on how to be successful on this surface of the heart. So successfulness and the guidelines for success on this surface of the heart requires capacity building. Even the way Allah has created us, even when we start from the living things, we have the animals, we have the plants, and we have human beings. So what Allah is expecting from us is that we should be able to use all the environmental resources to be useful for us as an human being. So it is now left for us to be able to develop our capacity to be able to make use of these resources effectively and efficiently. For instance, we have some animals that eat or depend on plants. So they eat plants for them to be able to sustain themselves. And another animal will not depend on this animal. Like, let's say, for instance, if you are talking of cow, for instance. So cow eats on plants. And at the same time, human beings rely on cow to eat them. Just like what Allah says in the Quran, that فَمِنِهَا رَكُوبُهُمْ وَمِنِهَا يَأْكُلُونَ. There are some of these resources on the surface of the earth that you use some of them to climb on them as a form of transportation, while you eat some of those resources. So what we are saying in essence is that in any country, in any community, there is need for us to build our capacity. But the reverse is the case in so many countries today, because what are those sectors? We have economic sectors, we have educational sectors, we have financial institutions, we have industrial sectors, and so on and so forth. So we need to develop individuals who are to work in different sectors in our country. So the essence of education is to train an individual to be able to work in all these sectors. Because just like what I said here, I said it is very necessary to understand the entire human system and the interacting of subsystems. You know, it was popularly said that human beings, we are political animals. And by so doing, we need one another for us to be able to grow and perform effectively and efficiently. For instance, I am a teacher and I teach students. So I don't expect to also be at the same time a medical doctor who will go to the hospital and attend to patients. I cannot at the same time serve as a university administrator who will be collating the admission requirements from different applicants. I should not at the same time serve as a nurse who will be giving injection to various patients. I cannot at the same time serve as someone that prescribes drug to the patients. So these and so many other systems are supposed to be working effectively and efficiently. And that is the point that I'm trying to raise here, that education serves as that capacity building in our various countries. And that is why on this note, I want to congratulate the admitted students into this, our citadel of learning, which is International Open University. And I also want to welcome them back specifically to the department where we build capacities for the development of the global international advancement. Because in education, we train the medical doctors, we train the lawyers, and so many other professionals. That is why this profession is a noble profession for noble individual. So, and that is why I want to congratulate them, and I want to wish them the success in their various endeavors. Now, when we talk about capacity building, what are the components of capacity building? And of course, what are those organs or elements that has to do with capacity building? One, we have, I will not be able to go through all the points, but it's just for us to have an highlight, for us to be able to know of the task ahead of us as an educationist or as an educator or as a graduate in the Department of Education. We talk about environment. What do we mean by environment? We have a set of influences that has direct or indirect control to the ultimately performance of people in a country. There's no way when we talk about work environment, it's also an environment. So when you get to a particular place of work or services, and you now discover that the services is not well rendered to you, then there's a problem with their education. Let me give a scenario of a man who is a professor. This professor is a professor in an earth-related discipline. And he has trained a lot of professionals. So, and his daughter wants to do a kind of operation. Summarily, the operation was not successful, and the woman eventually died. And this professor now accused of that hospital of breaching of a standard and contract, that because they are not competent, they are not, and all those things. So on his way to the hospital where these issues occur, he met someone, and the person was running after this professor, greeting him, and then, but the professor was not actually concentrating because of what has happened to him. So on getting to the hospital, and then he was asking for the head of that hospital, somebody was also continuing to greet and then looking at the faces of the professor before he now said, I mean, I'm looking for the head of this sector. So eventually, the person introduced himself as the CEO of that hospital. And at the end of the day, he accused this man that, they killed his daughter and so on and so forth. Then this man said, you have forgotten me, Prof. You taught me so course and so. And, we have performed the way you have trained us, and we cannot perform beyond what you have offered to us. So the professor looks somehow dejected as a result of this scenario. And that is why we are saying that just like what it was quoted in UNESCO, that no country can go beyond the standard of teachers or education in their various countries. So what I mean by environment here, I'm not talking about your locale where you are living right now, but I'm talking of different sectors, sectors where we meet set of lawyers. The effectiveness of that place depends on the quality of education. Educational institution, financial institution. If you go to the bank today and they attend to you perfectly, then the kudos or the glory should be given to the education standard in that particular country. So let me skip this and move to the individual. Even the individual, just like what I said some weeks ago, that it is individual that comes together to form a family. And it is the family that comes together to form a town or community. Then the community comes together to form a district or region. And then the regions comes together, to form a state or to form a country, as the case may be. So the standard of an individual has a lot of things to do with the standard of quality of life and psychological well-being of people in that particular country. So that is why we said education is to train individual, not even the environment this time around. The individual people that you want to see in the environment it is the work of education to develop people so that they will now serve as a useful woman to the country where we belong to. So that is why we said education is very essential. And the roles of education cannot be overemphasized in our various countries. So on this note again, I want to congratulate you for being part of this drive and for being part of this department where various capacity building are being operated in this department. So we are to train individuals, we are to make different sectors, different organizations working appropriately and effectively. So, and this is a form of a lecture and sensitization to many of us who believe that, no, I don't want to go to the faculty or the Department of Education where I'm seen as just a mere teacher. But I'm telling you today that as an educationist, it is not just a means of teaching alone, but a means of capacity building. So that we'll be working appropriately and efficiently in our various countries. So how do we now say that education is actually contributing effectively to capacity building? You know, we have psychological factors, we have social factors, and so on and so forth. These are so many things that the educationist does in order to ensure that the country is working effectively. Now today, I'm putting up on a very good attire, and the work is not from me, it is from another person being trained through the means of education. That's why I said education has many subfields. We have philosophy, we have psychology, we have sociology, we have economics, and so on and so forth. Where, as an educationist, you can specialize yourself in. You know, in the Quran, Allah says that inna sa'yakum la shatta. You know, the work, your specialization, your skills must be different from one another. I may not be good in mathematics. So you are good in mathematics and you are to be trained in mathematics education. I'm not good in math, but I'm good in English. That is why I've been trained in English education. I'm not good in English, I'm not good in math, but I'm good in engineering. So our areas of specialization, our areas of contribution to capacity building in our various countries must definitely be different. That is why even among the prophets of Allah, we have some of them that are tailor, we have some of them that were carpenters. So according to scholars of Islam, many of them agree to the fact that our dear father, that is Zachariah, is a carpenter. So meaning that we need to train people in different levels of capacity for us to be able to grow our country together. So through the means of education. Then I'm now telling you now that in International Open University, we appreciate the standard of education in various countries. And that is why we have a Department of Education in the Faculty of Arts and Liberal Sciences. So the commitment of IOU is nothing but to ensure integrated approach, Islamized curriculum. Because at times, there's a saying that says, the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. Without the fear of Allah, the performance that we are talking about, the capacity that we are trying to build are in vain. Because وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And if you are doing all these capacity building strategies, and you are still adding your religious flavor into it, then it becomes very reasonable. And then it will now serve as a kind of a means of ibadah. And that is why we said in IOU, our teaching strategy, our education methods, our capacity building styles are already Islamized in an integrated approach system. That is why we said that we understand the fact that some people are very busy working in their country. Some are already an expert in, for instance, I don't go to school, I'm not coming for education, but I'm a tailor. So there's a way you can also enroll yourself in IOU, gain your certificate in education, and still continue with your tailoring as a tailoring educationist. You see, so it is less barrier when it comes to quality learning, because, and then we share a lot of expertise. You have access to various resources from different countries. Like today, right now, I'm talking to you from Nigeria. My student affairs expert, I think, is talking from Pakistan. Then there are some other experts in US, in UK, in Australia, in the Gambia, and so many other countries. So you have access to them. You learn a lot of things through what is called enculturation. You learn their culture, and then you expose yourself to different missions of Islamic philosophy. In IOU, as you can see, the 6 organs of our mission, authenticity is first thing in our agenda. We are authentic. We don't have interest in faking. We train people. We grade you based on your performance. There's no any favoritism. After all, maybe you are from UK, I am from Nigeria. I'm teaching you. What problem do I have with you? Assuming we are together in UK, I may be telling you that, okay, my tribe is this, your tribe is this, I'm from this town, you are from this town. That is why I don't want to be authentic with you. So the reverse is the case in IOU. Then look at the issue of accessibility. With your laptop, with your system, you are learning. Look at the issue of affordability. Our fees are very cheap compared to any other international open university or distance learning education system. IOU has the cheapest fee for our students, especially students that are coming to education. You can see. Then we have a community-driven mission. We want a situation whereby the students that we are training are localized within their country. That is why, for instance, in education, we have teaching practice. The teaching practice is that our students are allowed to go to various schools in their country and practice the teaching system in their country. So they go to the community. They teach the students in their country. Not that I'm posting them to my country or I'm taking them to Gambia. No, they stay in their country. They teach in their country. Even we have what is even called community service system, whereby the students will be saddled with the responsibility of doing a particular project in their country. So this makes our education system a community-based system. So where everybody have access and what is called a social responsibility. So people in the community are able to feel the impact of IOU. So recently, I was messaged by Student Affairs Department that the student of IOU, a session in my country, want to do a particular program, which I do not even know that they are assisting. Then I tell them that, of course, I'm available to grace their program and their occasion. Unfortunately, so to say, when they start the program, it was very fantastic to the extent that that is then I know that we have a lot of graduated IOU students in Nigeria. You know, they are alumni of IOU, and they are contributing significantly to the growth and development in their country, to the extent that they organize a workshop. Some of them has a training consultancy. I know some of them may be listening to me right now. They have education consult where they train people. Some of them have a counseling clinic center where they advise people, they give services to people, and people are appreciating IOU every day. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to be a guide and protector to the initiator of this institution, in the person of Sheikh Bilal Philip. Because the initiation cannot be overemphasized when it comes to community development. Then what of Islamic ethics? We uphold the high standard of Islamic philosophy to the extent that when we teach, you see Islam in us. As I'm talking to you now, the topic I'm talking about is education for capacity building. And you can see the Islamization in the standard of my discussion, because all what you are doing is nothing. La nuridu minkum jasaha wala shukura. We are not expecting something spectacular, but we are expecting what we are fear of is that punishment of Allah. What we are hoping for is that favor from Allah. So that at the end of the day, myself and my dear listener will be able to be admitted into the paradise. So that on that day, when we find ourselves in that Jannah, we begin to praise Allah that Alhamdulillah, alladhi adan al-haza, that we thank Allah that has placed our path or our leg in this upright and correct path. Then we talk about quality assurance in IOU. IOU has the a quality assurance centers that ensure that the teaching and learning are in line with our mission and vision. We are accredited institution across the globe, not only in Nigeria, not only in South Africa, not only in the Gambia, but across the globe. I have many of my students in the department who have signed their results, and then they are now working perfectly in their various countries. We have some of them that have done masters and PhD in another university. So on this note, we have several programs, especially in the Department of Education, not only at the full-time level, but even at the part-time level. You don't need to waste your time by maybe occupying you due to the fact that we understand the fact that some people are working and that they will not be able to have 100% time for their lectures. So we are so flexible. And as we can see it, we have a program that has to do with degree program, both hybrid and the BA degree program. We have master's program, as you can see, a research-based master's program, full-time and part-time basis. Then we have a different diploma program, associate programs. Then we have also the postgraduate certificate in education, which is just, the full-time and part-time basis. Then very soon, the United States PhD degree. So we're going to start that one as well, so that we'll come for your doctorate degree program in this university. My dear brothers and sisters who have admission to IOU, so it is very simple. our prospectus are already on our internet or on our website, whereby you are going to be notified of various courses that you need to do. At the end of your course, the courses are programmed in a credit unit basis. If you have a 10 credit unit, for instance, 1 credit unit, you are expected to spend not less than 10 national hours. So which is equivalent to 1 credit unit, as I've said it. And of course, if you are a full-time study person, you have to study for almost 600 hours to complete your 60 credits, meaning that I'm just doing a small multiplication calculation of 60 credit units multiplied by 10 hours per credit unit. Of course, in IOU, and specifically in our department, we are so flexible, just like what I've told you, at the full-time or part-time mode, you can study with us. Our lectures are very fantastic and fantabulous, because we use the virtual campus system, which is called LMS, Learning Management System, through our VLE, Virtual Learning Environment. You submit your work uniquely in IOU, which I've never seen in any other university in the world. I can say this without any reservation, is that you have different fashions of lecture on your VLE. One, you have a video lecture, we have an audio lecture, you have access to the slide, you have access to lecture materials, then you have access to go to our e-library, then you have access to your course lecturer, either on WhatsApp or on call or email. Then you also have access to so many admin officers, like help desk. If something is not clear to you, you can easily contact them. You can contact your lecturers as soon as possible. Then we also assess our learning. It's not as if we are just giving or dashing out certificates. We are going to assess you on each of the lectures. After you must have listened to the video lecture, you must have listened to audio lecture, read to your slide, read to your materials, access to your library. Then we are going to test you. We call it unit quiz of a multiple choice questions. We have so many assignments for you that will be domesticated in your various countries. We are at the end of the midterm semester, we have a midterm examination, we have final semester examination, we have the open-ended questions, we have multiple choice questions, and so on and so forth. So all these systems are well developed without any challenges for our students. And in addition to that, we developed the following icon. We have the lecturer and tutor support, where you send information to your lecturer, and less than 24 hours, your lecturer will reply to your mail. So it's as if you are presently or physically available with our tutor across the globe. We have academic support and guidance by our administrative officers. We have the counseling officers that have some issues, maybe personal issue, educational issue, vocational issues, and so on and so forth. It can be discussed with these experts. We have special need learning accommodation. I have, I'm a computer phobia. I have a learning disability. We have a software, very flexible to accommodate this. I said the other time that education is for everybody. The IT support is there, which I told you the other time. The library support is there. If you enter the libraries, it's as if you are entering the physical library. You will be more guided. You have access to several textbooks, several journals. And then we also have the community support system. Just like what I told you the other time, this one is not like community like I discussed, but we have various emphasized questions has been answered already. You just log into your platform, then you are going to see those questions. If I want to pay my fee, how will I pay it? How much is the fee? How many exams will I attempt in this module? Everything is self-answered without any challenges. Then when you get to your VLE, we have the following icon. We have announcement icon where lecturer communicate to their students. We have ask the teachers. We have students communicate to their teacher. We have student discussion forum where students discuss within themselves to guide themselves. We have technical feedback forum where students lodge complaint. My email, so then at the same time, we have recordings, like what I've discussed with you the other time. We have assignments. We have different examinations. For your patient, and inshallah, Bikurat Rahman, I want to congratulate those people that have been admitted into this department and other departments in IOU, while we are still waiting for so many of you that are listening to me right now to be part of IOU soonest. So, Jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Over to you, brother.
Yeah, barakallah feekum, Sheikh. Jazakumullah khairan. If there are any questions and answers, they can be posted on the YouTube chat box. So Sheikh will be happy to assist, inshallah. Sheikh, so far there are no questions, so we'll wait a few moments.
Sheikh, please, I'm still expecting the access to the live stream.
Sorry, say again, Sheikh?
I said I need access to the live stream service,
Okay.
or where to get the recorded session.
Yes, I'll share the link with you, Sheikh.
No.
So just still waiting for any questions to come up, inshallah. So if there are none, in a few moments, we'll wait.
Okay.
So Sheikh, seems like there are no questions at the moment. So with your permission, can we end the session, inshallah?
Yeah, no problem. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Jazakallah khairan, my brothers and sisters. May Allah bless you with beneficial knowledge and success in both worlds. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.